What's up guys, RedFlyer here, back from the video, and as you saw from the title and thumbnail of this video, I plasti dipped the wheels on my car. I went with red. I know it's very rice, I know it's kind of ridiculous, but that's okay, it's what I was going for. Black car, red wheels, I think it looks good, but you can plasti dip your wheels any color you want, red, black, gold, green, blue, anything, any kind of finish, matte, glossy, metallic, anything you want. I filmed most of the process 2 different times actually because my camera died halfway through the first time, of course. So I'm going to show you guys some videos and talk over the steps. And if you guys want to see a more detailed informational guide on plasti dipping your wheels, be sure to click the link in the description down below to go to my blog post at redflyerblog.com, my new website. I'd appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Real quick, please remember that I am not a professional. This is simply a video of my experiences, and I do not claim to know everything. If you do anything wrong to your car by following this video, I am not responsible. I'm sorry. So I actually attempted plasti dipping 3 different times. As you can see from this vertical picture right here from my snap story, this was the first attempt when I spent over 2 hours taping off the entire wheel and then just plasti dipping the flat 2D aluminum surface, which honestly I kind of like the way it came out. But the problem was that plasti dip doesn't adhere well to a 2-dimensional surface, so it was peeling a lot on the edges, and I didn't really do it correctly. I didn't take the wheels off, so not only did it take forever to tape it off, but there was also a lot of drips, and it wasn't a very good process, which is why I took it off and redid it the second time. And the second time, as you can see, I did not mask the tires, because I'm like, oh yeah, totally, it'll just peel right off the tires, and clearly it did not. So this took hours of scrubbing to fix, although I did not actually take off the dip off the wheels. All I did was add the glossy coat to it later because this was just the matte. And it looks very bright in this picture because it was right after I did it, but over time it kind of faded a lot, and also the brake dust became very visible, which is why I added a few more coats of red than glossy over it, and I scrubbed the tires for hours, so please mask your tires, guys. And finally, the third time I got the results that I wanted. As you can see in the picture right here, this was the final car. The front, the back, I did all 4 wheels. This was about a week's process when you count all 3 of the attempts, but I was very happy with the way it turned out. So the first step was gathering all of your materials. As you can see here, I had 2 cans of Flexi Dip. It's Flexi Dip or Plasti Dip. They're interchangeable. They work the same. The Glossifier I actually used was Plasti Dip. It's just what the store was carrying at that time. Just so you know, Home Depot will make sure you're 18 before you buy these, so save you from an awkward trip. But apparently Lowe's does not. At least the Lowe's I went to did not. You also want, excuse me, you also want some paper towels so you can put underneath your wheel, not to get the color or get the floor beneath your wheels colored when you're spraying them. Also to wipe any drips that might happen, or you can use newspapers to put underneath the wheel. Both of them work the same, and blue tape to mask your tires. Now the first step you're going to want to do is find the lift and the lug nut wrench from the trunk of your car. It's most likely in the trunk, right next to the spare. My wrench was right next to the spare, then the lift was actually underneath the spare. You're going to want to look up online the lift spots for your car. Mine were located right inside of the wheels. Pretty simple to find. Just don't pick some random spot and like try and lift up on your muffler or anything, because clearly that's going to cause some damage to your vehicle. And my first step was actually prepping my wheels, which as you can see I had some little red vinyl striping on the wheels prior to doing this, which is the old design, and it actually didn't look too bad. If you guys want to go with just that, I mean, it's like $5 on eBay, you know, it's pretty chill. So I had to take that off, and then make sure to park your car on a flat, dry area, and turn on the parking brake, and make sure your car is placed in park. You can also stop your wheels if you'd like to prevent the car from rolling. It's not necessary and really not that important, but if you want to have that extra security, be sure to block the wheel opposite of the wheel you're lifting. So if you're lifting the bottom left wheel, block the front right wheel just with anything heavy so the wheels can't roll. Same thing if you're doing the front left, block the back right. You guys probably get the idea. So once I had peeled off all of the vinyl striping, I actually began to lift the car. Now one thing you can do before this is loosen the seals on the lug nuts first with the lug wrench, just because it's difficult to get them off once the tire is in the air. However, I did not do this, and it ended up being okay. It just takes a lot more effort and a lot more exertion to loosen those lug nuts. So when you lift up the car, you want to go high enough that you can slide your entire hand underneath the tire. I was actually a bit below that, and it just made it harder when I was putting the tire back on, but it still worked out. Also, I know I'm using the lug wrench wrong. I learned how to use it after I finished filming this. Apparently there's actually a hinge in it so you can fold it, and you don't have to pull it off every single time you twist the lug wrench on. Also, while you're lifting your car, you may hear a few quick creaks or like little popping sounds, but if you hear any long like twisting metal sounds, be sure to stop and reassess and make sure you're not like damaging your car in any way. But any like little quick creaks are probably going to be okay. Now once my vehicle was lifted off the ground, I had already loosened the lug nuts with the lug wrench. All I had to do was twist them off with my fingers and then pull the wheel directly off. When you're lifting your wheel, be really careful to use your legs and not your back, that way you don't injure yourself. Wheels can actually be pretty heavy, and then I placed them on the ground underneath, or on top of some newspaper that I'd laid out. Newspaper or paper towels, like I said, they're interchangeable. Just make sure the plastic dip doesn't drip to the paper towels if they're really thin, because you don't want to get any paint on the surface below your tires. Now the next step was to prepare the tires and, well, more importantly, prepare the wheels. My wheels were aluminum and black. As you can see, it was a two-tone kind of aluminum and metallic, well, I guess it was the same, no, more aluminum and glossy look. And you want to make sure you wipe them down with a wet paper towel and then a dry paper towel first to get all the dirt and brake dust off, because if there's any texture on there, it will show through in the plasti dip and it won't adhere as well. And if there's any water left on the wheels at all, the plasti dip will not adhere very well at all, and it'll be super drippy and just a complete mess. So first make sure you clean them. Then it's very important that your wheels are completely dry before you start spraying. The other step in preparing your tires is masking off all of the wheels. As I said, remember that picture from the beginning, you do not want your nasty red tires like that. It's going to take hours to scratch it off. Please don't do that. Just take the blue tape, mask off the tires. It doesn't take that long. It's going to be so much better. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I know there's kind of a weird edge in between the wheel and the tire. I tried to jam the tape in there, but don't worry about it being perfect. There's a little bit of plastic dip in there. No one's even going to see it. And if it really bothers you that much, you can always scratch it off later. It's fairly easy. And if the layer is thick enough, you can actually peel it right off. Also, be sure not to cover up any corner or edge of your actual tire that you want to dip with the tape, because if even a bit of it is covered up, it's going to show through pretty well if it's aluminum. I mean, the aluminum's going to shine through pretty well in the red. So it's better to have a bit of your tire exposed and cover up, or leave open all of the aluminum, than to cover all your tires perfectly, but maybe cover up a bit of the aluminum as well. Now once your wheel's all the way masked off, you're ready to start spraying. Be sure to shake your can for at least 1 minute before you start spraying. And be sure to store it in a warm area as well. If you keep it cold, apparently it drips more. I didn't see this, but that's what I read online. And you want to make sure to keep your wheels flat the entire time, because otherwise they will drip down. When you're spraying, you want to hold the can around 6 to 12 inches away from the wheel. And the most important step is do not hold the can still, ever. Ever. Don't do it. It'll make uneven layers. It will not look good at all. You want to start out at the beginning, moving the can just back and forth in the same direction so it creates an even coat. Maybe once you're done, you can flip 180 degrees and do it again really quick. And the first coat is only supposed to be maybe like 60% solid. You don't want to have a full solid layer, so it's going to be dripping a lot. That's going to be too much. The first coat is really just to kind of create a foundation for the plasti dip to bond to. Again, plasti dip or flexi dip, it's totally interchangeable. And after you finish your first coat, you want to wait around 10 minutes or so before adding the next coat. You want to make sure it's completely dry, but not so dry that the plasti dip won't adhere, so don't wait more than like 20 minutes, otherwise you might run into some issues. As you continue with the coats, you can begin giving more attention to some of the areas that you think might need it. I found that obviously the plasti dip adhered a lot better to the aluminum than it did to the black glossy surface, and I needed a lot more to add it to the black so it wouldn't show through. This is okay, but still make sure to never hold your can still, no matter what. It'll create uneven surfaces, it'll create drips. It's not what you want. If you do have any drips, you can wipe them up really quickly with paper towels. It's no big deal. Personally, I had like a few drips in the inner side of the tire. I didn't even, or the inner side of the wheel. I didn't even bother cleaning them up because no one's ever gonna see that, and they always come off later. But if you want to, no big deal. It's pretty simple. Just wipe them up with a paper towel. Now, as you get to the later coats, once you get to around your third or fourth coat, you want to be able to almost have 100% solid color right there. You don't want to be able to see through it at all. And you should do at least 5 coats before you're done. Again, waiting 10 minutes in between each coat. And by the 5th coat, it really should be very thick. You shouldn't be able to see through the see through at all. You know, you should be able to see your Ford logo or any kind of aluminum or any of the surfaces below it. Really give attention to some of the places that you think need more. Make sure to spray from all angles and wrap around the plasti dip. As I said, it adheres to 3D surfaces a lot better than 2D. And you should be almost done once you get to around 5 layers. You can always do more, but I did 5 and it worked great. Now, during those layers, my camera actually died, so that's when I switched to use my GoPro, which I stupidly strapped to my chest instead of my head. From now on, I'm going to use my head, but that's why the camera angles aren't great. I apologize for that. And once you get through all 5 of your coats, you're going to want to switch to your glossy. But first, make sure to let all of the colored plasti dip dry for at least 20 minutes, probably around 30 minutes, no more than like 45 minutes. Then you're going to get ready to add glossy, and the most important thing with the glossy is follow all the steps from the colored coat, except be very, very careful not to overspray. You don't need to add a lot at all. A little bit goes a long way. You're definitely adding less than you did of the colored. Just about one go through with the glossy should be enough. You shouldn't overlap yourself at all. And go back again, maybe one side from each angle, and that's it. Then let it dry for 10 minutes and do one more layer, and you are done. If you want to add maybe one more layer of glossy, you could, but I would not recommend adding more than 3 layers of glossy. Plus, then you might not have enough to do all 4 wheels with just one can. Now, once you finish your glossy spray, you are almost done. As you can see, the wheel looks very, very bright at this point. Don't worry, it will fade a little bit. It's not going to be that bright forever. and you're ready to put it back on your wheel. First, make sure it dries for at least another 30 minutes, that way you don't have to worry about any drips at all. Then you want to peel off your blue tape. This is the most satisfying part. Hopefully if you mask correctly, there's going to be nothing left on your tire. If there is just a little bit, don't worry, it will peel off with Gooby Gone or any other adhesive remover. Then when you're ready to put your wheels back on your car, you really just have to kind of pick them up and line them up with the little home on the vehicle. This is the most difficult part. You might need a friend to help you line it up. Again, lift with your legs, not your back. It'll be pretty hard to line it up. As you can see, I got it right here. I know the angle isn't great because of the GoPro, but I'll fix it for the next video. If you use your foot to push it, it definitely helps as well. And once you have it in the frame, take your hands and just twist the lug nuts right back in. Don't worry about the order when you're just using your hands. You're not going to do anything wrong. But then once you start using the lug wrench, you can twist the lug nuts back in with the lug wrench while the wheel is still raised in the air. This is very important that you follow a specific pattern. I'll put a picture on screen right now. But you want to skip every other lug nut. So you want to go 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, or in a star pattern, or upper, bottom right, upper left, upper right, bottom left. This just equally distributes the weight on the tire and make sure you don't over tighten one side and kind of create a disbalance in the weight of the tire. And then once your lug nuts are tightened as far as you can go, you want to drop down your lift, put your tires on the ground, and then try at least 2 more times to tighten the lug nuts as far as you can. As long as you're using the lug wrench from your car dealership or from the car manufacturer, you cannot physically tighten the lug nuts too far, so don't worry about that. If you're using a torque wrench, that's a whole different issue, but be sure to look up the specific torque for your lug nuts designed for the car, and be sure to set them to that exact torque. Now, if you're not using a torque wrench and you want that extra security and making sure your wheels are on correctly, you can always take your car into a shop and have them check the wheels for, the shop did it for me for free, so just for free or maybe like $10, they won't charge anything. It takes like a minute. They can just take their torque wrench, look up your car, check the value listed online, and just go through and check all of your lug nuts really quick to make sure they're secured correctly. And that is pretty much it. As I said, you can dip your wheels any color you want: red, black, blue, green, gold. Then you can do metallic, matte, glossy. I believe there's, yeah, I guess it was gunmetallic. I think there's a few other types of materials as well. I love plastic dipping. I think it's great. Be sure to let me know in the comments down below anything that you guys do to your cars or any feedback on this video. Again, I am not a professional, so I don't know like everything. This is just kind of my process, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Comment down below what I should do next, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Say that it feels right.